My name is Jessie Dubinsky. This is my recommendation report. This is my audience, and I'll have them go sit down now. So today I'm going to be talking about whether or not the sale of raw milk should be legalized in the United States. And the reason that I'm going to be doing this report is because recently, probably in the past 5-10 years, there's been a big debate that's kind of sprung up that, between the farming world and the microbiology world about whether or not raw milk is safe, if it's healthy, if pasteurization is, takes away from the nutritional content of raw milk, etc., etc. So today I'm actually going to be arguing against the sale of raw milk because of all the microbes and the pathogens that it contains. So I'm going to be looking at this report from more of a microbiology standpoint. So as of right now, there are 29 states that actually allow the sale of raw milk by some means, whether or not that's, milk itself, cheese products, etc., etc. So states individually can go ahead and say, hey, I want to sell raw milk, or I don't. But in 1987, the FDA stepped in. They're like, hey, you can do what you want statewide, but you can't actually, sell it from state to state. We're going to prohibit that. So really what we're focusing on is, should the sale of raw milk be, sold statewide in the U.S.? So actually, as of now, a lot of public health organizations, regulatory, educational agencies have stepped up and, issued statements saying, hey, we condemn the sale of raw milk because it is very dangerous to humans if they end up drinking some sort of contaminated raw milk. So some of the agencies that are included are, like the USDA, the FDA, NIA, which is the National Environmental Health Association, the World Health Organization, which is actually, more of an international statement, so that's pretty big coming from that, this huge international organization is saying, hey, we condemn this. But then you also got, the American Academy of Pediatrics, American Medical Association, so just a whole bunch of organizations that say, hey, let's not do this because it's really unhealthy. So, like I said before, this report is going to mainly cover the types of pathogens that can be found in raw milk and the illnesses that they cause, some of the outbreaks that have been reported due to the sale of raw milk, and then we're going to look at the benefits of pasteurization and why milk should actually be pasteurized. So, the first topic that we're going to cover is the pathogens and illnesses associated with the consumption of raw milk. So if you guys want to go to your, I believe it's handout number 2, the one that lists all the pathogens. So some of the pathogens that are seen a lot of the times in raw milk include, Salmonella, Campylobacter, E. coli. There's 4 types of E. coli. The most dangerous is the O157H7, which actually is enterohemorrhagic, which causes bloody diarrhea, and it's just really dangerous. It affects kids a lot. You see Listeria, which is a scary organism because, a lot of these stop growth if they're, refrigerated, but Listeria doesn't. So it's pretty dangerous because, it's been known to, kill children. It causes miscarriages in pregnant women. It affects the older generation as well. But then you have some other ones. You can also see some parasites in there too, which is kind of gross. So Toxoplasma gondii, which pretty much resembles mono, and it causes a lot of fetal death or abnormalities of drinking when pregnant. So a lot of these are going to cause your diarrhea, your abdominal pain, vomiting, that type of thing. The scary thing about these organisms is that you can't really tell if milk is contaminated when it's taken from a cow, because a lot of times these bacteria or pathogens don't, make a cow ill. So they're asymptomatic. So it's very difficult to detect whether or not they're seen in humans. One of the big things that a lot of farmers do is put this milk in like a bulk tank, so it only takes like a couple bacteria to actually like contaminate the entire bulk of milk, which then is not pasteurized, and all that milk is contaminated. So really the only way that you can tell if these types of pathogens are in milk is by doing microbial testing. So this kind of brings it to the point that researchers explain that this new food movement advocating consumption of raw milk for health purposes, actually they've seen an influx of milk-borne disease or outbreaks. So that's pretty dangerous. That's a big thing that's been going on. Studies have also been done proving that people who consume raw milk experience more milk-borne illnesses than people who don't. So it's not just something, that people are saying, hey, this doesn't happen. It actually does. So then, this is going to be your handout too. This is actually a breakdown of outbreaks that have occurred from 1993 to 2006, and this was done by the CDC, and it doesn't break down state by state, but as this milk movement is growing, more, hey, let's eat more organic foods, let's drink more raw milk, you can see that the number of illnesses and outbreaks generally is increasing, especially, compared to 2005, 2006, and 1993. So then another study was done by NIA that explains that the occurrence of outbreaks due to raw milk has been found to correlate with the legal status of raw milk within a state. So essentially, states that sell raw milk have a lot higher occurrence of illnesses and deaths due to drinking it than states that don't sell it, which is a pretty scary thing actually, because a lot of times it's kids that are affected by it. So then, if we look at some of the outbreaks, these are just more recent ones that I found. A lot of them are from California actually, because they are like, hey, let's sell raw milk, we don't have a problem with it. So Campylobacter, there's an outbreak there. Listeria in North Carolina, and like I said, listeria is kind of scary because it grows when it's refrigerated. But then you have E. coli 0157H7 outbreak in children. This one I believe killed 17 kids, so that was pretty scary. And there's another one in 2006 of the E. coli, which is becoming a more predominant bacteria, which, like the CDC and everybody's trying to be like, hey, we need to watch this because it's actually growing. But then you see, like Salmonella and Campylobacter, all these types of bacteria which cause some sort of illness like diarrhea, vomiting, and can make you, pretty sick too. Campylobacter is kind of scary because it affects your nervous system and causes paralysis, so that's something that they want to watch out for.